Everybody, it's John Moore, and welcome to the Texas College Football Show. And this is actually going to be our very first episode, even though we're not going to do a countdown to start this week. We're going to rank the coaches in the Texas College Football FBS Division I in the state of Texas. So there's 13 schools that are FBS available. I've already told you that that's what this show is going to be about. They go from the SEC all the way down to the Sun Belt Conference, but there are 13 schools that are technically eligible. We're going to talk about each coach, and we're going to rank them from 13 down to 1. I never fail to let people know ahead of time so that I can be sure and get your feedback and be sure and get you guys giving me grief. I'm a Texas Longhorn homer. I've never denied that. I grew up a Texas Longhorn fan. My son is going to the University of Texas this fall. I did not go there, but I'm super excited about him going there and getting to go down and go to a couple of these games. But this show is going to be fantastic in the fact that we are going to be able, we're going to be able to bring you updates every week, countdown from 13 to the top school in the state of Texas in the FBS division, which teams that are eligible for the CFP, which is the college football playoffs. This is going to be a lot of fun. I kind of toyed with this last year, but now that I'm with Fanatics View on this, it's just been fantastic to team up with Taylor and that group at Fanatics View. But we're going to start now with the top 13 coaches and what can we say about each one. We're going to start out at number 13, and number 13 is going to be Scotty Walden from the University of Texas, El Paso. Scotty Walden's in his second season, guys. He's 3-9 last year. He was 3-9 his first year in. He came from Austin Peay. It's out in Tennessee, where he was a coach there. He was 24-16 there. So as a whole, as a head coach overall, he is 37-29 overall as a head coach. Was the youngest college head coach ever at East Texas Baptist University in 2016. He took over in an interim position and got hired full-time. He was just 26, and they believe that's the youngest ever head coach in college football. He went 7-3, but then he left and he went to become the offensive coordinator at Southern Miss in 2017 before going to Austin Peay eventually after coaching in some other places. He's obviously an offensive-minded coach. And then there's some recruiting there that he's done well especially for the University of Texas El Paso, but he comes in at number 13. I think this is a good coach. UTEP is hard to play at, but we're going to go to number 12. Let's go to number 12, and that's going to be Scott Abell, who is at Rice University. He was just hired. Scott Abell's in his first season. He was hired from Davidson, where he was 47-28 in 6 seasons at Davidson University, was 39-24 in 6 seasons at Washington and Lee. Before that, it was a Division III school. So overall, Scott Abell is a 86-52 as a head coach. He started out as a high school coach in Virginia when he first got out of college and started coaching, and has worked his way up, and now he's got himself a Division I job at Rice University. Good for him. Let's see what he can do. Another hard place to play at. Now let's go down to number 11. Number 11 is Eric Morris at the University of North Texas, the Mean Green. Everybody knows UNT up there at North Texas. Look, it's his third season there. He's 11-14 at UNT. He was hired after 4 seasons at Incarnate Word, which plays in I think it's the Southland Conference, where he was 24-18. He finished first place there a couple of times, or Lone Star Conference, sorry. Finished first place a couple of times there. He's 35-32 as a head coach. He played college ball at Texas Tech from 2004 to 2008. He was a wide receiver in those years. That's Mike Leach years. Went into coaching after that, did some offensive coordinator stuff, got the job at Incarnate Word, and now here he is at North Texas. Not going to lie, 11-14 in 3 years. That's a hard place to be a coach at, and we'll see if Eric Morris can keep that going. So now let's go down to number 10. This is the top 10, guys. We're in the top 10. We're going to go to Phil Longo. Phil Longo is at Sam Houston State University. Longo is his first year at Sam Houston State. He was hired from Wisconsin, where he was the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach from 2023 to 2024. He was previously the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at UNC and Ole Miss. And he returns to Sam Houston. Back in 2014 through 2016, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. He's only been a head coach one time. It was in 2004 and 2005. It was at LaSalle University, a small school, LaSalle University, where he was 7-14 in the 2 years that he was there, 3 years that he was there. That's 2 years, I guess. That he was there. I think he took over and partway through. But he is back where he enjoyed Sam Houston after being the offensive coordinator at Wisconsin. And he comes in at number 9, at number 10. So now let's go to number 9. This is an interesting one. G.J. Kinney. G.J. Kinney's at Texas State University. GJ's a little bit different. This guy's in third season. He's 16-10. He was hired from Incarnate Word, and where he was with 12-2 in the one season he was there. He won the Southland Conference at Incarnate Word. Kenny played high school ball at Gilmer High School and originally went to UT out of high school. He was a quarterback. He went to high school out of there. Then he transferred to Tulsa, where he played his final 3 years at Tulsa. He started there. He went and played pro ball for 6 years, bounced around. He's on a couple of practice squads, and then he went and played at some like arena ball and some other stuff. He went to Canada for a year, never really caught on, and he got into coaching after that. He got his first coaching gig with SMU in 2017 when he got a graduate assistant job there, and then that took him onto his coaching career. He's obviously an offensive-minded coach. He's got an interesting story about his dad. I don't know if any of you remember this. This is something that is kind of out there. A lot of people might remember this. I don't know if you do or not. His dad was a coach at Canyon High School out in East Texas and was shot and thought to have been killed by the dad of a player that was on his team. This happened a while back. In fact, I read a story where Kenny, actually, when he first heard that his dad had been shot, they told him he had already died. He ended up surviving it. He ended up surviving that, but that was a huge story. The father of the kid that shot him ended up going to prison for, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder. But I mean, all that's wrong with sports today, and something like this happens. I mean, you got to, come on, guys. We can be better than that. But good for G.J. Kinney. This is a young guy to watch coming up. I really think this is a guy that could end up making some noise. And, this is one of those jobs where if you have success, it could catapult you into another Division I job, a little bit more prestige at a better conference, a little more money. But GJ's started out well. We'll see how he does this year he's coming into his what is he? He's in this is his third season to be there. Number 8. Now, this is a surprising one. There are a lot of people that have been high on this guy. I am not high on him now, and I think this guy right now probably has the hottest seat in football. Right now, he's probably got the hottest seat in football, and that's number 8's coming in is Dave Aranda at Baylor University. Look, Dave's in his 6th season there. He's 31-30 overall at Baylor. He was 12-2 in 2021. Everyone remember that? He won the Big 12. He won the Sugar Bowl that year. Took them, I think they finished in the top 3 or 4. It was a great year. It was his second year there. But, ever since that year, it's gone a little downhill. He went 6-7 the next year. Then he went 3-9. Then last year he was 8-5. I'm going to say that this is a guy who's probably, if there's been anyone on a hotter seat, it's him. I don't know that there's anyone besides him that's on as hot a seat as he is. He came to Baylor from LSU, where he was, a defensive coordinator there at LSU, won a national championship with them in 2019, the Joe Burrow era. Aranda was the defensive coordinator there, was making like $2.5 million as a defensive coordinator before that, he got fired. They had to sign him to that because actually Texas A&M went after him at the time and tried to get Aranda to come there. But he has not fared as well. He had one good year at Baylor, and he has struggled. He was 2-7 like his first year. Then he went 12-2, which looked good, and then he's kind of fallen back after that. And then let's see where he ends up. Now, number 7, this is one of my favorite coaches in Division I in the state of Texas. This guy kind of holds a special place for me because I love high school coaches that end up making it and going somewhere. And that's going to be Jeff Traylor over at UTSA at University of Texas in San Antonio. He's in his 6th season as the head coach there. He's 46-20. 46-20 as at conference and he's won the Conference USA twice. Now I believe they're in the AAC this year. But he came to UTSA from Arkansas, where he was the associate head coach, and he was a running back coach there. He had the same job at SMU before that. But if y'all don't remember, he took his first job. Look, he originally got to be he's from Gilmer. He went to Gilmer High School. That's where he grew up. But he ended up going to Gilmer as a head coach and was there about 15 years at Gilmer High School, won 3 state titles, went to the state championship like 5 or 6 times, ended up winning 3 of them. And interesting enough, he's got a tie-in with another former high school coach that was pretty popular. Jeff Traylor was part of Charlie Strong's first year. Charlie Strong hired him at the University of Texas when he also almost hired Joey Gallo, and we'll talk about that story when Joey Gallo reaches this list. But Traylor came from Gilmer. He took the job. I think he was a running backs coach when he first took the job at the University of Texas. Charlie Strong did that to get some recruiting from the high school coaches and to get in with them. Jeff Traylor has done well. He's really done well since taking over at UTSA, and it's paid off. He's making like $3 million a year, something huge that UTSA, that you don't think of them normally spending money like that. But good for Jeff Traylor. Now we're going to go to number 6. And number 6 is Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz. Now this is a guy right here. Willie Fritz is his second year at the University of Houston, but why is he here? He went 4-8 last year, and why do I put him ahead of someone like Dave Aranda or Jeff Traylor? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because he's got some history. He's got a lot of history as a head coach. Last year was his first year at University of Houston. He's done some good recruiting. He's hit a little bit on the transfer portal. Houston's not going to have as big of NILs a lot of places, but his track record is pretty stellar. He was hired at Houston from Tulane, where he went 54-47 and had 3 AAC titles in 8 years there. But that's not it. He's been a college head coach for like 32 years. Coming up on his 33rd season right now. We had stops at Blinn Junior College where he was a head coach. He was at Central Missouri. Sam Houston. He was at Sam Houston back when Sam Houston was getting on the map. Then he went to Georgia Southern before Tulane. Overall, he is a combined 212 and 124. And you can't knock that and that experience. Houston went out and got someone with a track record and probably someone that could come in and start and build his own program the way he wants to, the way he did it at Tulane, the way he did it at Sam Houston, the way he did it at Georgia Southern. And that's why he gets a little credibility with me, and he comes in at number 6. Now, guys, we're heading to the top 5. I know a lot of you are wondering. I know what you're saying. In your mind, you're going, well, obviously, John's going to put Steve Sarkeesian number 1. Maybe I did put Steve Sarkeesian number 1. But we're in the top 5 now. We're going to find out. Starting out in the top 5, the first one, Sonny Dykes from TCU. Sonny gets a little bit of a break from me from the 2022 season. Sonny is his 4th season at TCU. He is 27-13. Right now there. He came over from SMU where he was 30-18 and 5 seasons there. He also was a head coach at Cal and Louisiana Tech. Overall, he's 98-76 as a head coach. Legendary son of the legendary Spike Dykes, Texas Tech notable. But 98-76, that's good as a head coach. Big year was 2022. That's why he gets a little pass with me and another chance. He took TCU all the way to the national title game. And I don't care what players you have and what players do to get them to that game. They ended up losing that year to Kansas State. They were undefeated going into the Big 12 title game, ended up losing to Kansas State. But, it doesn't matter. They ended up winning their first playoff game against Michigan and went in, and I believe it was Georgia. You know what, guys? That was not we got to be honest with that one. That was not great what happened with him in that national championship game. But you know what? He got him there. And you know what? Steve Sarkeesian hasn't gotten there. All right. But now with Sonny Dykes, number 5, we got to go to number 4. And who is number 4 in the Texas FBS? Mike Elko. And let me tell you something. Mike Elko's number 4, and Mike Elko by the end of the year could be number 1. I don't know, but I will tell you what, as a Longhorn fan, I hate to see what Mike Elko is doing right now. He is recruiting like a maniac and having success. Look, he's been a head coach. This is his second season at A&M. He went 8-5 last year. Obviously, he came over from Duke, where he was 16-9 in 2 seasons there. But before that, before he got the job at Duke, he was part of Jimbo Fisher's staff. And he was the defensive coordinator for A&M from 2018 to 2021. Listen, Mike Elko, A&M, you can say what you want about them. They've got the resources. They've got the money. They've got the alumni base. They can go out and do what they want. There was a lot of backlash because of Stoops that they almost hired when they fired Jimbo Fisher. By the way, the one guy – listen, I've always given A&M buddies crap about things. I told them from the day they hired him, the biggest fraud in all of college football was Jimbo Fisher. UT at one time looked at Jimbo Fisher, and it looked like they were going to hire him. I told my Aggie friend, they thought it was the best thing in the world. He proved me right when he came in and what he became. He lived off of Jameson Winston when he was at Florida State and won the national title with Jameson Winston. He was on Bobby Bowden's coattails as his offensive coordinator. He's a Saban protege, but he was not. Now, saying that, on the Elko hiring, I obviously thought he was better than Jimbo Fisher because I just thought Jimbo Fisher was a fraud. And Mike Elko might be finally what the Texas A&M Aggies have been looking for. This is a guy who's got a steady presence there. This is a guy that, look, let's be real honest. A&M is on the verge. I mean, it's got the resources to be a blue blood, but they're not. And Aggies, get over it. You're not a blue blood. But you're also a school that could sometimes be a stepping stone for a coach to go somewhere. But if you win and have success, you'll end up staying forever. And Elko may be your guy. Now, I thought Kevin Sumlin was one of the best hires that A&M. Of course, I thought Dennis Franchione was a great hire. So we still got to see what Elko does eventually once he gets to that point and he gets on the field and he gets them going. But I like Elko. I like what he's done. I like how he coaches. Right now, probably his biggest downfall this year is I don't know what he's got at quarterback. Marcel Reed, who's good, and we're going to do a quarterback show. We're not doing it right now, but we will do a quarterback show. I like Marcel Reed. He's with his legs, especially. He is unbelievable. His arm is still something you got to watch. And your quarterback is, unless it's the second year in the system that they've got coming in with what's his name that came over from Kansas State. I'm sorry, my mind went blank there. Anyway, it's his second season there, so it takes a little bit, and sometimes you get a little more comfortable in that. I think Marcel Reed has a chance to be an exceptional quarterback, but he hasn't proved it yet. And as your quarterback goes, so does your head coach. But boy, he's getting some players in there. He did well on the transfer portal. His recruiting has been amazing. This is a team to watch. Texas A&M might be at the top of this thing before it's all said and done. Mike Elko might be the top coach by the end of all of this. I don't know, but I really do like Mike Elko. But he comes in at number 4. Before we go to number 3, some of you are looking. You kind of know where we're at on this. There's 3 school lefts. One of them is a ACC school. One of them's a SEC school. And one of them is a Big 12 school. And these are the 3 top coaches coming in. Some of you, especially you Aggies, are going to be just unbelievably mad when I tell you who number 3 is coming in, because number 3 is Joey Maguire. Joey Maguire at Texas Tech University. Look, Maguire's in his 4th season. He's 23-16. He came over from Baylor where he was an assistant coach. He's known throughout college football for his ability for his high school coaching. He was the president of the Coaches Association and the High School Coaches Association. He's a Hall of Famer there. I think he was there for about 14 years as a head coach. He went 141-42 141-42, 3 state titles at Cedar Hill. A lot of people don't know this about Joey. Joey was almost, and have you seen what he's doing with the recruiting? I know NIL, and I know that Texas Tech is spending some money. I get it, guys. Texas Tech is out there spending money, and that's fine, and you can say what you want about it. But I'm telling you right now, Joey Maguire has this presence. I know him personally. Joey and I know each other. We're not buddies. I do know his wife better. Debbie, his wife, went to high school with me. Debbie's big brother was my high school quarterback at Duncanville High School back in 1985 when I was a wide receiver, and David Need was the quarterback. Ended up pitching in the Braves organization and the Colorado Rockies, where he was the opening day starter their very first year as a major league team. He was their opening day starter. But David was a good quarterback. Debbie was a couple years younger than us, and she met Joey and married Joey. And so through them, I've known Joey. I knew him through the FCA around the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and I've eaten some breakfast with him and hung out with him. He's a really great guy. But, boy, I tell you what, when you're around Joey Maguire, he makes you feel special. He just does. I don't care what anyone says. Joey Maguire makes you feel special when you're around him. And let me tell you what, he's got someone on that staff that y'all need to keep an eye on. And who you need to keep an eye on that staff is his son, Garrett Maguire. That's an interesting story about Garrett. Now, first of all, I want to tell you about Joey. The year that Charlie Strong took the job at University of Texas, his first hire he tried to make was Joey Maguire. He tried to get Joey Maguire, head of the Coaches Association, all of that, what he was doing at the university or at Cedar Hill. Strong probably knew him from recruiting when he was at Louisville and all of that. A lot of people know and love Joey, and a lot of that was going on. He tried to hire him. Joey really considered it. He almost took a job with the University of Texas. It was a dream of his, believe it or not. Him and Mac Brown were really close as a high school coach, and Mac recruited Cedar Hill. And he really thought that might be a place he would love to go, but he ended up making this decision. Made a decision because his son was going to be a senior in high school that year, and his name was Garrett Maguire, and Garrett's a quarterback. One of the most interesting things you'll ever hear about a coach and his high school quarterback son, his son was not a starter. He had a better quarterback on the roster, and Garrett was the deep snapper he did all the deep snapping for the punts, for the field goals, all of that. And he was the backup quarterback, but wore a headset on the sideline because since he was like 10 years old, he had been going and breaking down film with his dad. He went to Baylor when Joey ended up the year that Garrett graduated. Joey took the job at Baylor University. Matt Rule's one of Matt Rule's first hires, went and got Joey Maguire. He called it a coup when he got him. And Joey got in there, did a lot of great recruiting there. He's doing it at Texas Tech like we see. And by the way, their transfer portal at Texas Tech's been amazing this year. But Joey was fantastic with what he was doing at Baylor. Garrett went there as a walk-on. He was a preferred walk-on, suited up for 4 years, got his degree from there. Spent most of his time at the Baylor University with a headset on. Well, Matt Rule took the job with the Carolina Panthers when he left, and before Dave Aranda got the job. And you know who who Matt Rule's first hires was? A 21-year-old Garrett Maguire. Garrett Maguire was hired by Matt Rule. He went as a coach of the Carolina Panthers. He was an offensive assistant with the Carolina Panthers. When Matt Rule took the job at the University of Nebraska, he hired Garrett Maguire to come up there with him, where Garrett was there for a couple of years. He was the wide receiver coach. Look, Garrett Maguire will be a future head coach, and it would surprise. I'm hoping one day when Steve Sarkeesian steps down, Garrett Maguire steps in for a long-term deal. That's how good I think this kid is. Well, he came to be with Dad this year. Matt Rule hired a new offensive coordinator. He saw the writing on the wall, and Garrett Maguire was hired by Joey. Joey always wanted him on his staff. Garrett's kind of wanted to go his own way, but he took the job. He's the running backs coach at Texas Tech. Watch that name. There's another Maguire at Texas Tech that might be going up, but Joey Maguire, I think Joey Maguire might win the Big 12. I really do. This is a guy that seems to be putting pieces together. Could they end up 8-5 like they normally do, kind of like A&M always does? Of course. Of course they could. But I think that Joey Maguire is the best hire they have had since Mike Leach. Mike Leach was the best coach to ever be at Texas Tech University. I don't want to hear about Spike Dykes. I'm sorry. Spike Dykes was a decent coach. I get it. And for what he did out there, Mike Leach was the best coach ever. Mike Leach turned that school into a powerhouse. They were knocking off OU and Texas every once in a while when they shouldn't have. They never had the talent, but Mike Leach knew how to coach, and they ended up running him out of there. Well, Craig James did. But since that hiring of Mike Leach and losing Mike Leach, Joey Maguire is probably the best coach that they've had. I really expect big things from Joey Maguire, and it's why Joey Maguire comes in at number 3. Number 2, hook 'em horns, baby. Hook 'em horns. Look, there are a lot of you on here that are going Steve Sarkeesian is the number 1 coach. Look, I'm not going to argue. I love Steve Sarkeesian. I did not like the hire of Steve Sarkeesian. I'm on record as that, and I've said it over and over. When they hired Tom Herman, I thought it was a great hire. When they fired Tom Herman, I thought it was time to get rid of him. There were a lot of names being floated around. There were some names that I really thought they should have went after. I thought Matt Rule was somebody. He made the jump over to Nebraska, and I thought Texas should go after Matt Rule because I thought that was a guy that would do good. There were some names that were in retirement that that we were hearing about, that I wondered about, that they might get, but they ended up going and get Steve Sarkeesian. That kind of came out of left field. There weren't many people known that Texas was talking to him. I remember when they announced the hiring, I wasn't on board. I was not. I am fully on board now with what he's done at Texas. Look, this is his 5th season at the University of Texas. He's 38-17. He started out with that 5-7 year. And then 2 semifinals in back-to-back. The last year he won the Big 12, year before last. Last year he went to the SEC title game, ended up losing that to Georgia in a very close game that came down to the end. And it really looked like Texas had a chance to win that game. Ended up winning 2 playoff games before losing almost beating Ohio State, the eventual national champion. They took him down to the wire and ended up losing that game too. Steve Sarkeesian has things going well, and Steve Sarkeesian, a lot of people don't realize his history as a head coach. Now, I know a lot of you laugh at it because of the addiction issue. He's an alcoholic. He's an admitted alcoholic. He never tries to hide from the fact that he was an alcoholic. He's overall as a head coach, he is 84-52. That's a great winning percentage there. He had stops at Washington and USC as head coach. At USC is where he ended up losing his job because of drinking, and he had issues there. And then he resurrected his career when he went to work for Nick Saban. Nick Saban pulled him off the scrap heap, pulled him up there. He became the offensive coordinator. I think he came in at first as Saban's the first guy to ever do this, take an old head coach and make him a kind of what do they call it now? They don't call it an assistant. They're kind of like just an advisor role. They hire an advisor role. Texas did it when Sarkeesian was here. He did it with Gary Patterson. After Patterson was let go from TCU, he hired him to come in and be kind of just an extra ear on the defensive side of the ball. But when that's the way he was hired on at Bama. Then he went into that went into the offensive coordinator job and just killed it and won the national championship the year that he took the Texas job. Saw an interesting podcast with him the other day when everything was on Zoom. They were doing everything on Zoom at the time. It was during COVID when Chris Del Conte was calling him and talking to him about taking the job at Texas. He said that he had gotten a couple of offers. He told him he wanted to get back with him. He didn't know anything about Austin. He didn't know what Austin was like. He was from right now. He didn't know if he wanted to go to another town that was a small college town. And he had never been to Austin in his life. So, he said in his mind, he thought that if he took the job, he was going to Lubbock, Texas. He said, because he didn't know, he'd never been to Austin. Him and his wife got on there and started looking it up and seeing that there were skyscrapers and there were highways that had exits and all of that. And he saw what Austin was, immediately called back Del Conte, and he took the job. And he's had success, guys. You hate Texas. I get it. I mean, as a Texas fan, I get it. I understand why you hate us. I know it. I'm not going to sit there and argue with you over it. You hate the Texas Longhorns. That's fine. You feel free to hate the Texas Longhorns. I don't care. That's part of the lure and fun of it. And I love when Texas gets beat and you give me crap, and I love giving you crap when Texas beats you. But starting out 5-7, he went 8-4 or 5 the next year, and then he just progressively got better each year doing that. When he started getting his own players in, he said everyone forgets that first year when he went 5-7 at Texas. I remember when I thought that this was a good hire. I told you guys I wasn't on board with Sarkeesian. I didn't know that if he was a good hire. The first time I looked at what Sarkeesian did and thought that this might be a good hire was that OU game his first year. Now, Texas ended up losing that game. If y'all remember, he came out with a game plan, jumped all over OU. They were up 21-0 at one time, went into halftime up by like 21 points, ended up losing that game when they took out Spencer Rattler and put in what's his name that came in and took over at OU and then followed Lincoln Riley out to USC. And they ended up beating Texas, Williams. And so, look, it happened, but I had seen something I hadn't seen before, and that was the offense do something creative and do that. But at the time, he didn't have the personnel he needed on defense, and there were a lot of games that year. You go to that 5-7 season, there were a lot of games where Texas was winning those games and ended up getting beat because they couldn't hold on. They just didn't have the players or the gumption to hang on and fight to stay in those games, and they ended up losing them and ended up going 5-7. And since then, he's built Texas into a powerhouse. His recruiting's been amazing. What he's done with Arch Manning, we'll see where Arch rates on the quarterback rankings when we do that for the FBS 12 quarterback rankings. But Steve Sarkeesian comes in at number 2. I'm a homer, but I didn't put him number 1. Why didn't I put him number 1? There's a guy that's impressed me. And for you people at SMU, Rhett Lashley is the number one coach so far right now in the first year that I've done this for the Texas College Football Show Division I FBS school. This year I've got Rhett Lashley. Rhett Lashley's in his 4th season as the head coach at SMU. He's 29-12 as a head coach. Finished first in the AAC, and then he finished last year first in the ACC. Excuse me, made the college football playoffs last year. And I don't care who you are. They did not have the talent to do what they did. All the years before that, Rhett Lashley was an offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. Did it with Miami before that. He's had that job he did it with SMU years back. In 2011, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. But he's done it for years before finally getting the gig at SMU, and he's done great things at SMU. Now, that's the good news for SMU. Here's the bad news for SMU with Rhett Lashley as your head coach. SMU, without a doubt, unlike A&M where I said could be, SMU is a stepping stone school. Unless they win the national championship, you go to SMU, you do what you did, you succeed, and he's going to get offered a better job somewhere if he keeps it up. Now, he doesn't have to go 12-2 again and make it to the CFP. But if he comes back and goes 9-3 again, wins 8-4, 9-3, 10-2, whatever he does this thing again, what he did last year during the regular season, people are going to take notice of what Rhett Lashley is doing at SMU, and he's going to go to a bigger job where the money is. And I don't blame him. None of y'all should blame him. So, look, that's who we went with right now. It's been a lot of fun doing this. It took me a while. I've been working on this list, putting it out, looking at stats, doing it. I know a lot of you have your own hot opinions on who you think should be the number 1 coach or what your list should be. Hit those like buttons down there at Fanatics View. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, DM me, leave some messages. I want to hear about it. Go to the Twitter page. We do have a Twitter page now, and it's at Texas CFP. I think it's what it is. I'll get it out to you guys. I don't have it on me right now. Actually, let me look it up. Let me look at my phone. I got to remember what it is. The College Football Show does have a new Twitter handle on there. Let me make sure what it is, guys, so you guys can have it. It is at Texas College FBS. At Texas College FBS. That's where the new Twitter is, and we'll probably get an Instagram page up. Thanks for being a part of this first show. Next coming out, we're going to rank the quarterbacks, and this is going to be a little different in the fact that some of these schools don't have a set quarterback. They've got 2 or 3 that are positioning themselves for the job. And we're going to rank the FBS quarterbacks. The Texas College Football Show will rank the Texas College Football Show quarterbacks, FBS and Division I. Guys, it's fun. Thanks for being a part of the new show. Going to do a new one next week. Until then, see you on the field. I used to say see you at the yard for baseball. For this, I'm going to say see you on the gridiron.